This is Healthcare Uprising. We are here to shine a light on the innovators implementing positive change in American healthcare and the patient experience stories, good and bad, that can help others navigate the sometimes overwhelmingly complex American healthcare system. Welcome to the Uprising. We are not doctors and we don't play one on TV. If you need medical advice, consult with your physician or a healthcare professional. All right. Hello, health heads. Welcome and thank you for checking into this very special bonus live in-studio audio-only dose of Healthcare Uprising. Whew. Off to a good start already.
That was word salad. What?
I am your producer in the back, Jeremy Carr, here with your host in the front row, Heather Pierce. So why don't you tell them what's on the agenda for this very special live in-studio audio-only bonus episode today, Heather?
And also, to be clear, I'm next to you this time. I'm usually in front.
See, I was using the audio only to our advantage.
Okay. We don't need to tell anybody. Well, if this is the beginning of how we're recording, and we're going to talk about menopause today, so it's totally tracking right now that like everything's kind of chaotic and weird and different. So just like our broken bodies. No, I'm serious. When somebody asks me, so you're going through menopause or perimenopause? I'm like, yes, I am broken. So today we're doing our very first roundtable that is tying into more of our human stories. So and I have a couple of friends of mine here who are also going through perimenopause. And so it is therefore a perimenopause roundtable. So, with that, I'm going to introduce my pals here. Well, obviously there's me, Heather, but we have another Heather. So, and then we also have Kristina. And we're all here sitting in the official podcast studio for the first time, which is cool.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Testing my skills here as the producer. I had to set everything up different.
Yep. So we're going to get hot in here today.
Literally.
Pun intended.
Oh, boy.
So actually, we're kind of, this is different format than we're used to. So I want to actually have you guys go first. And Heather, if you would kind of give us a little background. And then Kristina, and then I'll actually share mine too. I share my menopause, perimenopause stories across many of our episodes, but it's like in little pieces. But like I'll do kind of like a quick intro for myself too. But I'll go last. So Heather, go ahead.
All right. Hi, everybody. My name's Heather Skye. So I'm mom to 5 kids. I've been in Flagstaff about 13 years. I'm a property manager right now, which I've been doing for about 6 years. Also a ghostwriter, which I've been doing for about 3 years. And I've been on this crazy uphill, downhill journey of perimenopause since fall of 2022. Definitely some stories to tell. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, which is about the same time as me. So we've been on this ride together.
And it is a ride. And I guess it's not over yet.
That's longer than the average NFL career. So there you go.
Oh, well, it's good to know. Good to know.
Hashtag winning. Do we say that?
We do now?
We do now. All right.
I'm not getting millions of dollars for this shit. So no,
that's
not,
right.
This is true.
Not fair.
We should be getting paid. Kristina, go ahead and give us a little quick intro background.
So my name's Kristina Rose now. I have been in Flagstaff for about 23 years now. I have a husband and a 14-year-old son. And I work at Northern Arizona University. I'm the executive assistant to the dean at Klein Library. And I've been going through it. I think I have been cognizant of my going through perimenopause for probably the last 2 years or so. But when you think back on it, I know it's been happening a lot longer than that. You just really don't kind of realize what is going on until one day you're like, I can't do this anymore.
Oh, yeah. Totally. Yeah. I think I too was in it for a while before I was like, wait, I'm definitely this has been going on for at least a year.
Yeah. Something is wrong here.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
This is why I have the podcast, though, for women
is.
who haven't got there yet. We have a lot of episodes to tell you what's happening to yourself.
I will we could legitimately serve up a platter of podcast episodes on perimenopause, menopause, preparing for it. That the most recent
Predicting
one.
it, postponing it,
predicting
all
it.
kinds of stuff.
Oh yeah, you guys.
I need to know more about the postponing it, please.
Yeah.
Timeless biotech.
It's too late for you.
Episode
That's
20.
not fair.
Episode 20,
Episode 20. Yeah.
I believe.
Okay. I think you're right. Yeah. Well, I'm sure we'll talk about that at some point. So, this is weird to introduce myself on my own show, but hi, I'm Heather.
Hi, Heather.
Hi. I have the other Heather here. I started going through perimenopause, at least conscientiously, about fall of 2022, maybe the summer. And then definitely started doing something about it about a year after. So, and I'm 48 years old. I'm married. I have 2 boys, 11 and 17. And I'm the creative director for Homeward Health. And I have this podcast, Healthcare Uprising, where I talk a lot about women's health. So obviously perimenopause, menopause, very relevant. Maybe we might become a menopause podcast the rate I'm going at this point. I'm sorry, Jeremy, I know this isn't what you signed up for, but here we are.
Oh, I had no idea what to expect coming in, so I can't be, you can't get thrown off when you have no idea what to expect to begin with.
Yeah.
But I would actually, as the man in the room, I would like to, because you keep talking about I've, knowingly been perimenopausal for X number of time, things like that. I want each of you to tell me what that means to you, what these symptoms are, what that feels like in your own words, and what you're really experiencing from that. Because as much as I've learned about menopause, I haven't heard someone really just be like, this is what it's like. And I'm also curious.
That's why we're doing this episode.
And, yeah, exactly. That's why we're here today. And so I'm just diving right into it. But and I'm really curious to see how similar, but even more so how different your experiences are.
Yeah.
So I don't know what you can choose the order, Heather, but I would like to hear all of you expound on that.
I'd be happy to kick it off if that works for everybody. I might as well get my shit out of the way because it is kind of shitty. Yeah. So for me, I think, when it became kind of this conscious thing, right? That I'm okay, I'm going through this. It was the hot flashes. And I'll never forget it too, because I was going to see an acupuncturist here in town for nerve pain from my spinal stenosis that I have. And, I had asked him, I remember asking him, do you do, acupuncture for, perimenopause? Cause I'm pretty sure I'm in it, but no one's diagnosed me yet. And I was having hot flashes. So that was the big one. That was probably the biggest one, was the hot flashes were already starting. And I remember him giving me, not a prescription. It's like a health supplement, something pearls. I can't remember the name of it. Shoot, it's in my bathroom downstairs, but
an herbal holistic thing.
Yeah. Acupuncture. It's all natural.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll have to figure out what it is. We'll find it, put it in the show notes. But I did start taking that. But at the time, though, I remember I was going to see a family physician, right? I wasn't going to an OBGYN anymore. And I remember saying hey, I'm having these hot flashes. I'm waking up a lot at night. I'm tired. Whatever. I'm always exhausted. I've never felt like this before. And it was just kind of oh, that's cool. Bye. And I'm I just came in here to do my annual, it's not annual anymore.
You're well woman.
You're well woman, the whole, we'll do another episode on that.
Yeah.
Check in, check up, right?
There will be a lot of curse words dropped on that. But I just remember
this rabbit hole just goes deeper.
It always does. It's just how it goes. Yeah, women's health is just.
I was gonna say, welcome to women's health, Jeremy.
Yeah, it's quite the world.
It's not the greatest. So I knew I was going through it. I didn't know who to talk to, quite honestly, because you would think the one person you go see for your well woman exam is going to be oh, let me help you. Instead it was let me start looking at it on my own. And then after a while, I was like, all right, this sucks. Like I'm spiraling. And I was in a really not happy place career wise. So like just everything kind of was sucking wind at that point. So I went to go see a local functional medicine doctor here in town, and she was a bit too woo woo for me, and I like woo woo stuff. And I was just like, no, I need like clinical support. Like I don't need to pay you $150 for you to ask me how my heart is. I want these mother effing hot flashes to stop.
Give me drugs.
Like somebody listen to me. So it was a good year and a half that I was like asking, trying to find some. Well, it wasn't even like I was asking. There was nobody to talk to, or at least if I could, I didn't know who to go to, and so I just suffered. So it had been going on for quite a while, but it was the hot flashes were bad, like bad. So that's kind of how it was for me. Those were kind of my initial big symptoms.
So do you feel like the fact that, you kind of felt like everything was wrong, like you said you were having problems with your job and, you like generally your life was chaos. Do you think that was part of it? Or do you think that was just life happening and you were also perimenopausal?
Yeah, I honestly, looking back on it, where I always used to say, oh, it was just the job and the job was making me crazy. And the lack of sleep was huge, right? Because when you're tired, you're just like, And so I think that kind of ended up, it all kind of like parlayed into my mental state as well. And like how I dealt with stress at work and, the lack of joy that I felt and all of that. So at the time I didn't realize it. I just thought, oh, this is just a job I'm not happy at. It's two totally separate things. Looking back on it, I really don't think it was at all. I think they were totally interdependent on one another. So, but nobody could help me, or at least I didn't know where to go at the time. But a good thing happened at one point. We'll get to that later.
Okay.
Right now we're just talking about how terrible our symptoms were.
I know, and I won't go into how bad the medical system is for leaving you hanging like that yet either, because I want to hear what the other women here have to say.
Yeah. So anyway, Heather, Kristina, either one of you want to go?
I can start it up. Like, I think for me, like realizing, it was the hot flashes and the not being able to sleep every night. I would wake up between religiously 2 and 3 a.m. and like I would be burning. I mean, like I felt like, in the 80s when you hear about people spontaneously combusting, you don't hear about that anymore, right? But I am fully like, I think that it was women who were perimenopausal were the ones that were spontaneously combusting in the 80s because I would be so hot in the middle of the night that I would just like, I would be just sweltering. And I just like really, part of why I think I didn't realize that there was anything going on is because I think COVID fucked a lot of people up too. Coming out of COVID and going into, and it may have even been happening longer than like I thought about it, but COVID was such a weird time for everybody. And, you just kind of were like on this, it was kind of like a hamster wheel for me during that time of like, all right, we're just going to, every day is the same and we're just going to go through this and, whatever. So I don't really think that I kind of like put the two together or like separated, that there was actually something like medically happening in my body. I kind of maybe just think that like I thought it was, just more shit to deal with. Like, it's part of, the last like 3-4 years of not, like living a normal regular life. But now looking back on it, I think that I like realized that, like the symptoms, the hot flashes at night, the not being able to sleep. I could not tell you how many nights I woke up between 2 and 3 a.m. and like I was awake. Like and then you have to continue to go until like 8-9 o'clock at night because you still have a family and you still have all these other people that are relying on you and you have to go to work and you have to do this. So you're just kind of in like this fog really of like things happening and going on inside of you. And another thing that really like hits me is the brain fog that comes along with it. And I don't know if you two deal with that. I know you and I have had conversations, but it's like, I'll be talking to people, and this really hits me hard because I work in academia. And so I'm talking to people with like doctorate degrees and, you know, like all this stuff. And I'll be mid conversation and words will just go away. And I'll be like, I know what I want to say right now, but I have no idea what word I'm looking for.
I've forgotten the a vocabulary.
Yeah,
the
it's
English
like
language.
I have, you know, and that's embarrassing a lot of times, especially when you're talking to people who are like, you know, you're already like, oh my gosh, you're so much smarter than me. And I feel that also too with the perimenopause is that kind of like the what do they call that? Like the imposter syndrome. Like I feel that much more strongly in anxiety. Like I actually started taking Prozac for my anxiety because of my perimenopause. It's just all these things.
One thing leads to another.
It really does.
The lack of sleep's huge, too.
Oh my gosh.
That's where the brain fog comes from.
It
If
was-
you're not sleeping right for a long period of time, that totally
Yep.
has your brain
Yeah.
stops working right. It just
Exactly.
stops working right.
Yep.
So true.
Yep. Yeah. No, you're not wrong with that at all. So because Heather actually, she started to go, and I don't want to give away part of your story, but because of
Oh, it's
you,
okay.
you know, I went and started to see someone
Yep.
at MIDI Health because of that talk that we went to that Dr. Perrin did. And then also,
Yep.
you know, because I knew you have had such great success with that,
Yep.
that, oh my gosh, like my life has changed. Like,
MIDI Health-
drastically.
MIDI Health was my savior because the functional medicine doctor, as much as she started to like prescribe me things, I wasn't getting the real clinical support that I wanted. And it was just not the right kind of,
Yeah.
it wasn't the right kind of care. It wasn't what I was looking for. I think it's worked for other people. It just wasn't for me. And MIDI Health came along like a couple months later. And I was like, hallelujah.
Well,
Somebody's here listening. This is what I needed like a year and a half ago.
You've
Yeah.
dropped that name a lot throughout the
I need to get
podcast.
them on the show. MIDI Health,
Yeah.
if you're listening. Actually, I know somebody who's doing some consulting work
So-
with them. They're going to try to get them on.
So we got hot flashes is the big thing, and everybody's heard of that. I didn't
Right.
know the insomnia thing
Yeah.
and the things that come with that. But
Yeah.
we have one more contestant on
Yeah,
today's
a
show.
contestant.
That sounds about right.
On
That sounds
menopause
about right.
roulette.
Step up to the plate.
There's
yeah.
no consolation prizes, though, just so you know.
Sad. The disappointment. No, it's been very similar for me too. As I looked back on my journey, I realized that, you know, I didn't know in fall of 22 that's what was going on. So, but I started out with a spontaneous frozen shoulder. And
Oh, I've heard about
I
this.
have to mention that because it's less common.
Yeah.
And when I've been speaking with,
Can you say what is it?
a spontaneous frozen shoulder.
This
Spontaneous
is this
frozen
is an actual
shoulder.
symptom.
It's an actual symptom,
It
but
really
it's
is.
less common. So I think it's really important to draw it out and talk about it. But my shoulder simply froze.
Like you just couldn't move your arm.
It froze solid. Yeah. So didn't know that that's, you know, it was related to perimenopause at the time. But I went through about 6 months of rehab for that. I had to have surgery.
oh my God.
And then after that, yeah.
We're like in unison
really
over here.
bizarre. Really bizarre.
So you haven't heard of this either, Heather.
I've heard of it.
you've heard of it.
I haven't met anyone who had it.
I've never even
I-
heard of
it.
This whole time I knew
Yeah.
you had it.
Yeah. Really.
But they weren't treating it as a perimenopausal
No.
symptom. It was like,
It
you've
was-
got a shoulder issue. We're going to fix it.
Exactly. So it was
Wow.
isolated, and I didn't know enough at the time, you know. And I think more of my symptoms showed up after that. It started to kind of make sense, you know.
Did
Other
the
things started
surgery
to-
help?
So what they do is they put you under anesthesia and they go in there and they manipulate your arm and they move it around, which would hurt too much if you were awake, right?
Right.
So, I mean, I guess maybe ultimately, but, you know, I have maybe 95% range of motion back finally. But
Wow.
yeah,
And how long's it been?
2.5 years.
Oh, that was
on
the
that.
whole 2.5.
That was what was
And
like
you're-
kind of the beginning.
and you're
point for
still
me.
recovering.
No, I mean, I have all the motion back that I'm
okay.
going to get. It's not going to get any better.
How long did that take to get your motion back?
About 9 months.
Dang.
About 9 months.
Like that's like an extreme. Okay,
Right,
we're gonna
yeah.
have to like dig into this a little bit more.
Yeah.
I even have questions.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
because I have
How
heard
does-
about this.
Yeah.
Could anyone explain to you how perimenopause causes that?
It's when the hormones start to change. And so your joints change and your cortisol levels, everything changes. So it all becomes related. Your estrogen is a different level, you know, your progesterone, your testosterone, and all of that is starting to just, you know, go crazy essentially and misfire or fire too much.
Yeah.
And so that's where it first manifested for me physically.
Wow.
So
Okay.
So it manifests in the shoulder, though. Does it happen to other joints, or is it just the shoulder?
Your hips.
Oh, so it can happen in other places.
Yeah. So I'm struggling with my hips and keeping mobility and flexibility with that right now. So, but otherwise very similar to Heather and Kristina with the brain fog. And in my line of work in real estate and property management, when you have discussions with owners who have assets and properties, you need to sound like you know what you're talking about. And when you sit there and all of a sudden, like you said, you have this whole discussion and you know what you're doing and there it goes. It just goes. And you're like, yeah, really, I promise I do know what I'm doing. I promise, you do want to talk to me. But so it's hard. It's hard to keep that up, and the sleep. And so my hot flashes come during the night. I don't have them a lot during the day yet. But if I wake up at night and I'm hot, you can forget about it. I can't go back to sleep. Forget about it. It's just, and then that makes me angry.
I can definitely empathize with the lack of sleep thing. I've been an insomniac on and off for most of my adult life, but the hot flashes, that's a different sort of thing.
Well,
because they still can't even explain what causes them. We talked about this not long, somewhere along the line here on the podcast.
Yeah.
Where they can kind of tell you what's happening, but they don't know why.
It's hard to it's hard to trace it back to a specific thing. Well, like anything with, women's health is that, we just don't know. There's a lot of that.
That's really what it is. Yeah. I mean, I went to my gyno a little bit, end of last year. Had a terrible experience there. Was basically told, we'll give you an antidepressant, but we can't do anything else for you.
No hormones?
No, she said, we don't do that here.
Because hormones saved
and I was like,
my life.
where do you do that if you don't do that here?
Right.
In this office.
Yeah.
And the whole condition is hormone based, really,
Right.
right? Mm-hmm. Wouldn't you think they'd start looking at hormone treatments for things that have to do with hormones?
Well, the whole thing with the
To me, it's just
anti-hormone,
logic.
right? Like how Dr. Perrin talked about it at that. Dr. Perrin's a local OBGYN, and she did a couple. Well, I think she's done two. Anyway, these presentations locally on menopause, and it's been very well attended. And there are doctors that won't prescribe it, and that just blows my mind. I didn't have trouble getting it. It was, I wasn't getting the clinical support that I wanted, right? She wasn't asking me questions that I now know because going to MIDI Health and having the NP that I have through MIDI. She asks me the questions that I wanted this functional doctor to ask me, and she didn't. But the non-prescribing of hormone, literally estradiol patch. Yeah. I mean, there's millions of women who are like, oh, you on the patch? And we're like, yeah, that's right.
Sure am.
We're like patch besties. It's like, what is it? If you know, you know. Yep.
Did you say estradiol patch?
That's a type of, I guess it would be the brand, the pharmaceutical.
So it's like a
patch.
slow release estrogen.
It is an estrogen patch. Yeah.
Like a nicotine patch for estrogen.
Yeah. And you wear it for 3 days, and then not everybody's
3 or 4 days.
3 or 4 days. Yeah. But that in progesterone. And that's what you needed, Heather, right?
Girl. Yeah. Yes, I did.
So what'd you do?
So I ended up going to see a naturopath here in town, and I've had very, very good success with what we've been working on together. And I now have some hormone replacement therapy in place. And also I think some other, just sort of immune boosting and just helping sleep and things like that. And it's kind of starting to make me feel a little bit more like I now live back inside my own body, that I recognize myself. But what a journey. And there's still more to come, right? I mean, because as soon as I think you get it figured out, it's gonna alter.
Changes.
That's what she told me. She's like, we're gonna get this figured out. You're gonna be cool for a few months, maybe a year, but it's gonna change again, and we're gonna have to figure it out again until you're completely on the other side.
Then you get new, funner symptoms.
right.
So excited about that.
Yeah. So it starts out with hot flashes, or I literally would feel like my insides were on fire. I would feel like my legs were dripping in sweat, but they were bone dry. And it would start from my feet and would come all the way up to my head.
At the top of your head.
Oh my God. It was intense. It would be the middle of the winter here, and I would go open my back door and it's 20 degrees. I'd be in a tank top and shorts, and I would stand out on my back deck for 5 minutes.
Steam like you just got out of the spa.
Yes.
That was pre-hormones, right? It was awful. And the sleeping, I was going to mention too, like my neighbor, she had the night sweats. Like where you're waking up in like a pool
and
of
you're drenched.
That's what
I never had that.
Yeah, I know I have.
I had mad hot flashes though. Mad. Like they
You've
were
had that?
all the time.
Definitely the night sweats, I guess, is more
So I've
along-
never-
You said that too, didn't
Yeah.
you?
I'd have hot flashes at night that would wake me up and then I couldn't get back to bed, but I never like woke up in like dripping, with the exception of like my neck. I could probably like wipe off with a towel, but other than that though, like I didn't experience the
Yeah.
like,
I
have
have
to
woken
change
up
my
in the
sheets.
middle of the night where I am like just completely soaked.
and you need to like
And
change
I
your
am
sheets.
so hot.
Yeah.
Like, and I, you know, and even I would like open up the covers, take the covers off, and like go into the bathroom, turn on the fan that I have next to my bed, turn that on. And of course, then my husband would be like, why the hell are you turning that fan on? It's fucking cold in here. And I'd be like, no, it's not. And like, and there were times that Tim would like touch my side of the bed and be like, holy smokes, babe. Like, that is like, and even like get up, go to the restroom, you know, like kind of clean yourself, cool down a little bit and get in bed. And the bed is still so warm that like you can't even use the covers. I mean, it's just like,
Just like no point in even going back to
No.
bed at that point.
no, you're awake.
It's like
You're
there's a
awake.
heater. It's like
Yeah.
somebody just inserted a heater under your
Yep.
part of the
Oh,
mattress,
yeah.
and it's just radiating. And
hot.
there's just
Have
no
you
way.
tried sleeping in a hammock?
That would be really nice. But, you know, that would be one of those things if I tried to install a hammock in my house, I'd be another like, WTF,
airflow.
Christina, what are we doing now, bro? Like, and I just don't want to have that conversation.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I had the same issues with Jake with the fan, and I'm just like, sorry, you're just gonna have to deal with it. Put a beanie on, go in another room. I'm like, I'm fucking miserable.
There
so.
is, I think, though, that like that kind of is what has kind of saved us is because we have 2 guest rooms in our home and my husband will just get up and like, you know, go somewhere else. And because sometimes it's easier to not sleep with your partner than it is to sleep with your partner. And yeah. But the whole shoulder thing, and that made me think of, I started to have really weird, like nerve, just like electrical shocks would just all of a sudden go through my body and it would be really painful. And like all of a sudden I would just be like sitting at my desk and then like I would feel like this electrical shock in my legs or in my torso, something. And I would just be like, oh my gosh. And then you kind of have to like rub it out a little bit, you know? And that too, I never really like put that as like part of it until a couple years ago, you know, because now when you realize that you're in it, you start to read everything that you possibly
exactly
can about it.
Yeah.
That almost sounds like fibromyalgia in a way. Is that
But
a
it's
connected thing?
not like
Which is
I
why
mean-
all these things are so hard to diagnose because everything appears to be like yours.
Misdiagnosed.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
They want to treat all the symptoms as separate things.
Yes.
But they're all stemming from a lack of estrogen.
And I really think that we all got screwed because there hasn't been a lot of, you know, studies done or anything on perimenopause or women's health in general. I mean, they have really just started to look at perimenopause in like the last 30 years.
Yep.
And then we totally got screwed on the whole, like there's an entire generation of women who think that hormone replacement therapy is bad
It
because
causes
some
cancer or
shitty,
something.
because some shitty study that was totally debunked that they said that, oh, like it all causes breast cancer
Right.
and, you know,
Right.
like you shouldn't be doing this. And
Which
so
is
an
probably why your
entire-
doctor would
It's
prescribe it,
ridiculous.
right?
Yeah.
Exactly. They're still of that thought.
I
Yeah.
guess so. Yes, exactly.
So, I mean, I'm thankful that we are in a period in time now where people are starting to realize like, no, this is okay. Yes, there are some things like if, you know, you have a predisposition to like breast cancer or whatever that no, you probably shouldn't be doing this, but it's generally safe for most of the population.
Hormone
And-
therapy saves lives.
Oh, amen, sister.
Not gonna lie.
Particularly husbands' lives.
Yeah, I was gonna say my husband and my
Right on.
14-year-old are very appreciative of my hormone replacement therapy.
Speaking of teenagers, you know what's really fun is to be going through your own form of puberty, like round 3, especially
Yeah.
if you've had children, right? Because we've had like post-birth hormonal fluctuations. Then we get to go through, the perimenopause. Meanwhile, most of us have kids that are going in their teenage years. And so they're like hormones all over the place. So we're all crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you get those teenage hormones that start to mix with those perimenopausal hormones. And, our significant others, like, God bless them, because
Right.
I just sometimes, it's, yeah.
And
I
you've
don't know
had
how
5
they-
kids, Heather? Jesus.
5
yeah,
kids?
I have 5 kids, 5 of my own.
Have you been going through hormonal changes with some of your kids?
Yeah, I bet.
So yeah,
Oh my
my
gosh.
14-year-old, my youngest, is the last one at home, and at this point, he and I are buddies because I feel like we have more in common right now than when my other kids were at home. So
Yeah.
he's gets his attitude on, and so do I. So
You're going through puberty together. And
Yes.
pretty much,
you are, really.
That's what it feels like.
You really are.
Hormonal
Yeah.
twins.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Yeah, I've definitely felt that. It was like 7th and 8th grade with Zane, and then I was like, oh my God. I'm hat flashing. The other thing too, and I want to make sure I say this, after going on hormones, and it's like anything, right? Like because like your baseline, if you're sick with something or you're putting up with something for long enough, it becomes like, oh, this is just normal. But like I legitimately did not realize how broken and in bad shape I was until after I got on hormones.
Until
And I was
you
like,
remember,
how did I not sleep for 2 years and function? Like the brain fog, right?
Yeah.
Like all of that I just, where are my glasses? They're on your face, you moron.
Yeah.
Like looking around, where are my car keys? They're in my goddamn hand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I
That
think
still happens.
I think it just builds so slowly that you just don't, it's like you normalize it, but it's not normal, but you're like, okay. And it just kind of comes on because it all doesn't happen at once, right? Or we would all be institutionalized.
Yes.
Right? So
Oh, if that flipped like a switch, this would be a different world.
that would be so different.
We
Then
would be
like,
combusting.
now we know what's happening, right?
legit.
But you're like, okay, I'm tired. Well, I'm tired because of this. And it's so easy to point to something else that's
Right.
going on. And you're like, oh, that's why. But
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
finally it all starts to make sense. But yeah,
We're
hormone replacement therapy, the way to go.
Yeah.
humans are amazingly adaptable creatures,
That's what
but
it
sometimes
is.
it goes against us.
Yeah.
Because when you're
Absolutely.
adapting to the bad, it can actually be a hindrance, the fact that we are that adaptable, that we can just start calling it normal when
Yeah.
it's so obviously not.
And I think you isolate yourself too.
Yes.
Because it's not like
Well,
you
and
want
we
to
were
go out
all
and talk
already
about it.
isolated.
Right.
I mean, I
Right.
think that really, like, the women who are going through this right now and who have started it, like, through COVID and kind of, we have already been going through so much in the last 5 years with our mental health and physical health. I mean, that was really hard on a lot of people.
Oh,
and
everybody.
to then
Everybody.
all of a sudden throw in, like, just, hey, let's sprinkle a little bit of this in here. And it's like, did we really realize where we were and what we were doing? I mean, because I feel like everybody was just kind of on this hamster wheel. Like I said before, it was just this constant, like, okay, I just need to get through today. Okay, I just need to get through today. And I don't think that I really realized what was happening until, like, it kind of was like the frying pan to the face of something is not right.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Same.
Anytime you had to go anywhere, it felt like you were like literally going downrange in a war.
Yeah.
You know,
Get your mask.
I remember going into the grocery store with the mask on, being have the list and like get in and out as fast as you
Yes.
can. Don't make contact.
So
Yeah.
much stress.
Like,
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Well, and although COVID, though, because we were all at home, and this comes up on the show all the time, a lot of the people that we're interviewing for like of these like founders for all these startups in healthcare, well, they were at home during COVID masterminding all of these great things. So like good for us, right? Because
Yeah.
now there's all this
True.
really great healthcare tech coming out into the universe that's being like, launched, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we have so many shows about it now. But we always say, well, one good thing about COVID, right?
Mhm.
But the other thing, though,
You got to find the silver linings where you can, man.
you do. And this just popped in my head as you were talking about like being in COVID, being on that hamster wheel. Like everyone was like, oh, but the kids. And no one was like, oh, but the midlife women starting perimenopause.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
once
Yeah.
again, they were just like, who gives a
Yeah.
shit about them, right?
Yeah. No.
They'll be fine.
because, you know,
We have bigger things to worry about.
Yeah,
Yes,
the
the
really
kids.
unfortunate thing about that, and it's part of like being a mom and a wife, and you know, the whole caretaker thing is like,
Totally.
they've got this. They've got this. Like,
Exactly.
you know, like
Yes.
we can, you know, mom can do everything. There's times that like, I'll look at my husband and be like, what are you going to do if I die?
Uh-huh.
You know, like, what are you going to, like, seriously, what are you going to do if something happens to me? Because, you know, there's so much on your plate that it kind of, I feel like it's naturally just people assume, oh, she'll take care of it.
She'll be
you know,
fine.
she'll be fine. She'll take care of it. And we're really like
No.
crumbling inside.
We'd like
and
help.
then you throw in all
Somebody
these like
check on
Yeah,
us,
and then you put this on
please.
top
Yeah.
of it.
and then you throw in all this hormone stuff, and it's just like, you know, oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
And again, if we could figure out as a society how to properly treat that so that all the women, you know, over 40 basically
Yeah.
can actually function at a top level.
Yeah.
I mean, it would just make the world so much better for everybody.
Right.
It's
Like,
true.
I
Yeah.
feel like it would be worth doing the research,
Yeah.
and I don't know why we haven't yet.
Somebody's got to be doing.
Because we're fine. We're all fine. It's the dumpster
Yeah.
fire meme with the dog that's like, I'm fine. It's fine. Everything's fine.
Yeah. But I mean, and it's coming around. That's a big part of this podcast so far has been all these new
Yeah.
innovations, and they're so much of the innovation in healthcare is women's health based now. Because
Finally.
And that's
the
excellent.
guys have been in charge so long, we figured ourselves out. We know how to take care of our stuff.
You just don't.
Yeah.
You know, we
You just don't.
You
That's
just
right.
and that's the irony is guys don't even go to the doctor. When we do, they know what to do for us because they've
Yeah.
done the research and the tests, and they know what works for all the stuff that happens to us.
No. Meanwhile, we're
And we
over
don't
here.
even take advantage of that fact.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, women are like, please help me. And they're like, meh.
Yeah. Oh, that's normal.
Yeah, like, you're
Oh,
fine.
yeah, you're fine. You're okay.
You're just, you're just in
Yeah.
a state.
Yeah.
a state.
I mean, they used to call it hysteria.
Yeah.
They sent us to,
I mean, at least we've come a long way from that, at least. But we still have a long way to go.
Issues, but just put them in the loony bin.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
They
No.
treated
Give
hot
them a
flash
lobotomy
like,
and-
I'm so hot, I can't take it. And when it's cold outside, I'm like, this woman's crazy.
Yeah.
Like,
No.
Yeah.
we've come a good ways, but we have so far to go. And it seems to
just
me like with today's
scratching the
technology, to not get into this,
Right.
Yeah.
because even not, I mean, I'm talking about it from the social side because I'm a damn progressive and whatnot, but even from a business side, anyone who can monetize a treatment for perimenopause, menopause symptoms,
Yep.
how much money is in that? Where is big pharma on that?
There's a lot of us,
How many
and we're the
billions
most
and
outspoken.
billions
too.
of dollars a year could you make off that?
Right.
Like,
Right.
why? So, like, no matter how I look at it, I'm like, why haven't they done this yet?
It's a good question.
And actually, that brings me back around. I like to diatribe sometimes,
Yes.
but I do have a further question. That brings me back to you did find someone who actually did help
Right.
and has a treatment in the MIDI Health.
It was MIDI Health for
You,
me.
you mentioned an estrogen patch, but can you expound, because you're on it too, right, Kristina?
Yeah.
Can you guys expound on like what more they did, what the whole process with them is, and like did they do more than just give you some drugs? But
Yeah, I mean, I meet with I see an NP actually with them. Kristina, do you too?
Yeah.
Okay, I think maybe everybody does.
Yeah.
And MIDI Health is really new. And I found them actually through like ads on my Instagram or Facebook, which now, of course, all of my ads and my
It's all
like
Facebook and Instagram.
you're basically old and getting near 50. Here, let's throw a bunch of old lady ads and AARP. I'm like, dude, I'm not even 55 yet. Thank you. You can wait like 6-7 years.
I know when you're in your it's still in your 40s, and they're sending you AARP stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, dude,
It's like back off.
give me at least 5 more years.
Slap in the face.
But like the algorithms with the ads and stuff, so like everything is like menopause in my face all the time. But I feel like since MIDI Health kind of came on the market a couple of years ago, like they were one of the most like outspoken, like out there in the market, and so many other companies and people with products and kind of just talking about it. Their whole like thing is menopause is hot, which you can actually buy a t-shirt. This is menopause is hot.
I actually want one of those.
Yeah, you should wear one. Actually, that would be hilarious.
It would
Christmas
make it
this year,
so much
Jeremy.
more
I know
ironic.
what I'm putting in your basket.
Yeah.
So much more ironic if I wore it.
It would be. It would be. But yeah, I think they were a huge catalyst for the actual like industry to like be like, hey guys, come on, like let's shit or get off the pot here,
Step up.
and we're gonna lead the charge. And so I once I saw them and I started seeing my NP and I got HRT and I got progesterone, and since I've been on those things, I've started having other symptoms that I'm not going to share on this podcast. A little bit too personal, but just go Google it, and I'm sure I probably check off at least half of the symptoms. But like, there's actually, I saw this Instagram thing. It was a menopause. It was like totally like a menopause page to follow on Instagram. And the lady's like, she's like, so, you don't like women, but you don't want to sleep with men. That's menopause? Yes. Gotcha.
Yes. Yeah.
And I'm like, that's me.
Yeah.
That's me. I'm currently like, can I just get into my Golden Girls era with my friend here?
That's also me after my divorce.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Your Golden Girls era, or you just don't like men or women?
I don't like men or women. Right now, yeah.
But
that makes it really hard though. And that I think is one of like the hardest things for me is like, I could deal with the hot flashes. I could deal with whatever, but it's like, my husband and I have been together for a long time and I have zero interest.
I'm like, can we just sleep in separate houses at this point?
Yeah. My libido is so low.
Kristina, you and I should live together, and Jake and Tim should live in one house. We can get together for dinner.
Yeah, we could do that
occasionally.
I'd be okay with that. But that, and I feel really bad about that. Because I'm like, this is not how it was. I mean, when my husband and I first got together, it was like all the time, like, yeah, let's do this. And now I'm just like, don't touch me.
Well, it's a hormonal thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm too hot. Please don't come near me.
Hot. Like,
The
no.
word, let me give you a little entomology here. The word horny comes from hormone.
Oh, really?
That makes sense.
They have the same root word.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yes.
I mean,
Your hormones make you horny.
yes.
So if your hormones are completely out of whack, there's a good chance you're not going to get horny.
Yeah, no. And that's, and that's, I don't know if you guys are whatever, if you are going through that, want to share it, whatever. But I mean, for me, it's real. And it
100.
It is a concern.
%.
And it is, like
sure.
my husband will just be like, okay, well, I guess it'll be another 3 months. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like it's not supposed to be this way. Like I like it too. Why can't I, I just don't have any. And I think that's really hard for me because before, I mean, in my younger days, like I was a very like sexual person. It was like, hell yeah.
You're like, not
do
anymore.
This. And now I couldn't care less if,
Yeah.
like I'm just whatever.
Is that a similar thing for the two Heathers over here?
And then you have all this like guilt because you're like,
do.
hush,
You do.
Yep,
I'm
you
the
do.
one, I'm the
Yep.
reason,
Yep.
And so I will share my experience. So my wife she's along for the ride. She had a hysterectomy about 6 years ago, so her situation's a little bit different.
Oh.
But
She jumped right to the end.
But she's still there. Like she's like stuck in this limbo era.
Right.
for
It still
her,
kills
so-
your hormone balance.
I always
and
wondered
everything.
that about hysterectomies.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she still has hot flashes. I call them blooms because you can literally see it creep up and out, and she sits there, and she's just hot. But that's her main symptom. That, and she literally can't sleep. So we are in separate rooms because she needs to stay up all night and I need to at least try to go to bed and get 3 hours of sleep. So as it is anyway, there's like a challenge with trying to keep that level of intimacy. But then when you're just like, I don't like my body, like at all. I don't want anybody to come near me because I don't feel good about myself right now.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Like, I mean, let alone try to get in the mood to do anything. And then you
Right.
feel bad.
Yeah.
And you're like, or the energy. Like, who's got the energy for that, right?
Well, and if you're not sleeping too.
And then you're not sleeping, exactly. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just a whole thing, right?
Yeah.
It's just, I mean,
It's a bad cycle.
even if it's a different picture for everybody, it's like still the same
Yeah.
feelings are all there, I think.
And
Yeah.
it is. And the
Yeah.
guilt, I think, is
The
what
guilt
gets
is
me. And I'm like,
huge.
I know it's not me.
Huge.
And my husband is so wonderful because he'll be like, I know it's not you. Like, he goes, I get it. Like,
Yeah.
you're going through something,
Right.
is what
Yeah.
he'll say.
Yeah.
And it's still, it's there.
It's not you. It's really me.
Yeah, it's not you, it's me.
It doesn't
For-
change
for-
the reality
for sure.
of the situation.
It
though.
doesn't,
No.
because they still need that, intimacy and, like physicality of being married and being with someone. And I'm just like, don't touch me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. I'm 100% with you on that one.
Poor guy.
Jake just makes jokes now. He's like, Heather, he's like, I'm just going to start getting hookers. Is that okay? And I'm like, actually, I don't even fucking care.
At this point, I'd be all right with
That should be
it.
a good idea.
I'm like, if that's what makes you happy and that's what you need at this point, I am 100% okay with that. I'm like, I literally have zero feelings over it one way or another. I'm like, we've been married a long time. I'm like, I really don't need to worry. I'm like, I know you're in it to win it with me. So
We could always go back to the longhouse version of society where the women live in that one and the men live in that one. And they, you get together when you want, but the men are over there and the women are over there.
well, I mean, at this point, and it was funny, you even said on like one of our recent episodes that like when there's a problem, women come together and build community to solve it, where men just like go off in the corner and have like a temper tantrum.
Men get angry and women get together.
Right. It like this to me, like this time of my life right now, like, I mean, you guys just sitting here, all of the other women in my life that are going through it, like, and we're so open about it. Unlike our parents that like basically menopause wasn't even, it didn't exist.
Right. It wasn't a thing.
Like they didn't talk
You didn't
about
talk
it.
about that.
Right.
We are now having podcasts about menopause. I mean, Tamsin Fidel, and there's a couple, Dr. Mary Claire, and you've got, I mean, even like, just people have podcasts that are celebrities, everybody, and it's women, Tina Fey and Amy Poehler, like they've talked about it. I could go on and on and on, but like we're talking about it and like we're building community around it, which I think is really cool. And, I think we have, you get into this age, right? Not only do we have wisdom, but we don't give a flying
I don't give a
fuck.
shit.
There it is.
Nope.
There it is.
And I think that really, like, in the last, like, 3 years or so, like, I have really started to build my community more on, like, quality than, when you're younger, when it's, like, quantity.
Totally.
And, like, and I feel like I have been able to make some really great connections with women who are going through the same shit that I'm going through, who have the same crazy-ass teenagers that I have at home. It's like, husband problems, divorce problems, whatever. Like I have built a community of women that I actually feel like I'm accepted and like I can be myself with,
Definitely.
And I never had that before. And I never realized that I didn't have that before, but I'm at that point where I'm just like, I don't give a shit. Like, you don't like this, you don't like me, whatever. Like, I don't need it in my life. And I'm at the point in my life where I'm not putting myself in spaces where I'm not wanted. And to like, read that cue because I can make myself disappear just as fast as I, came in. And so, yeah. Yep. I think that that's helped me a lot too, just to be like, I don't care. Life's too short. Like,
that might be the best symptom, if we can even say it's a symptom of perimenopause, is that we're just like, well, we know what we want, and and you have that kind of sense of the sense of time becomes even more and more part of like your decision making, and like how do you spend your time, who do you spend your time with, like we're kind of crusting over the top of the hill here, unfortunately. So
it's definitely true.
Yeah. So find the people that you want to spend time with, and many of them are having hot flashes. So
and around estrogen patches.
If you're cold,
so try.
Come warm your hands. Just stand around us. We're like a fire in a garbage can in like an alley.
Helpful on a winter night.
Yeah, we got you.
Just don't touch me on a winter night when you're cold. Don't touch me.
You just got to stand close, and like the campfire, just hover around you in a little circle.
Don't touch me.
Yeah. So if there's like one silver lining, right, it has come out of like going through this stuff, right? It's the community again.
Yeah.
Like we find it. We always find. If not, we create it.
And that's where the progress ultimately comes from, right? When enough women are getting together saying, pay attention to us, damn it, then they start paying attention to you, right?
Yeah. I think
and that's
so.
kind of how it works.
Yeah. And we just get louder and louder the older we get because we just don't care anymore.
No.
Yeah. So
how was your guys? I have a question, and sorry to cut you off, Jeremy, but I actually started thinking about this maybe like within like the last 3 weeks or so. But did you guys have like crazy postpartum symptoms when you had your kids?
I did with my last few because so I had 5 and then I had 4 more as a surrogate.
Oh, okay.
So now
Whoa.
with those,
You've birthed 9 children?
I have had 9 children.
Wow.
Yeah, I did a number on my body.
I bet.
Yeah, for sure. That's, there's a lot.
That's
But-
like colonial days. Pumping out the kids.
I know. Believe me. Yeah. But I think those last 3 pregnancies were harder for me. And it was way more intense afterwards. It was like, who is this person?
How old
Yeah.
were you?
Crazy. The 9th one was in 2020. I was 45. I'm going to be 50 next month. So I was
Wow.
45 when the last one came into the world.
Huh.
Yeah.
And well, your body changes, right? Like, so
Yeah.
if you had a baby at 30 versus one at 40,
Yeah.
or 45, like that's
For
like,
sure.
Must feel like you're some kind of athlete.
I guess that was my superpower, right?
Yeah.
We've all got one, maybe.
You look great for having 9
Oh,
kids.
I
I'm like,
never
my gosh, I'm
guessed.
amazed.
Oh my goodness,
That's amazing.
crazy
But
times.
so something that I've been thinking of lately is like my postpartum was one of the hardest times of my life, I think. Like it was just an emotional roller coaster.
For sure.
And,
Yeah.
like my husband was at the point where he was like afraid to ask me to pass him the salt at the dinner table, because he didn't know if it was going to come flying or if I was just going to start crying.
Oh, I
you
can
know,
relate to that
like-
so much.
And there
Yes,
was nothing
I
in between.
I didn't
And
go
there's
anywhere.
nothing. There's nothing.
No,
I mean,
there was
it
nothing. I don't know if it was like I couldn't go anywhere. I would go nowhere because I knew every 2 seconds my mood changed, or I was going to cry,
Yeah.
or like it was.
it's like being 3 years old again.
Yes.
You're not leaving
While
the house.
dealing with, an infant at the same time.
Yeah.
You're just,
Right.
And I wonder, I've been thinking about this, if like the postpartum, that we go through, if it's harder, makes like, I wonder if your menopause
predictor, kind of.
is, if it could be kind of like
The
a
closer you are to
predictor for
menopause, the
your
more you're postpartum.
menopause.
So
I did not have the emotional stuff. And quite
No?
honestly, even going through perimenopause and everything, still, I've always been so even keel, like emotionally. I've never had any major emotional ups and downs. So never have experienced it, even to this day. So,
I want to try to do a little
man.
math here on that. So Heather, guest Heather,
Yes.
the last few kids you birthed, you actually had the postpartum, and it got worse
did.
as you went.
It did.
And it was only a few years after the last one that you went into perimenopause.
Yeah, about 2.5.
Okay, so Kristina, what was the age difference between when you had the kid and when you think you started becoming
I was
perimenopausal?
32 when I had my son, so probably 10 years or so.
So it was. So you weren't even really that
it wasn't,
close then.
No.
So maybe it is just more specific to the individual. And
Yeah.
I
It
think
could
it
be.
is. Yeah. I always thought too, like for me, I was 37 when I had Van, 32 when I had Zane. Or was I 38? I know, I was close to 38. And for me, the perimenopause symptoms started when I was about 42, 43. So,
But you didn't really have the postpartum so much.
I didn't, no. And I also hadn't been on birth control. I wonder if that plays into it too.
yeah.
Because I went off birth control when I was 29, and it took me 2 years to get pregnant with Zane. So like I had a lot of issues with that, like infertility. And I never went back on birth control. Like, you cannot get me pregnant. And I've been off birth control for years and years and years. And I've always wondered if that plays into it. Like if you're on like a
Interesting.
implant or some other thing, that if that impacts like
Because again,
when,
it's messing with your hormones.
if it makes it start later.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
Well,
I
was
wondered.
on Depo for years. I was on Depo when I got pregnant with Chaz. I didn't even realize that I was pregnant until I was 12 weeks pregnant.
Oh my.
What is
because-
Depo?
It's the shot that you get like every 3 months.
Okay.
birth control.
Birth control.
I wasn't familiar with the specific form.
Yeah, no, it's a shot that you get every 3 months. And so with that, I mean, you don't ever have a period. Like I never had a period. Like it was just, you just kind of go through life. And then all of a sudden one day I tried to drink a beer and like I felt sick. And I was like, this isn't normal. Like,
I really like beer.
yeah. Like, this is not normal. And so sure as shit, yeah, like I was pregnant. But and then for a very short time after that, I got back on Depo. But then I decided, like, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. Like I don't want to take any more hormones. So
Now you do.
My husband. Yeah, now I'm like, bring him,
You're like,
buddy.
bring me all of the
all
hormones.
of them. Yes.
But back then, like,
Back
I
that truck
didn't
up.
want to. And so my husband ended up getting a vasectomy. But, and so after that, I wasn't on them again until I went to go and like started to realize like, hey, something's really wrong. And then the first thing that they put me on was birth control pills. And I'm like, why the fuck you put me on birth control pills? Because it's not like this is the issue. So
It's probably the only thing they have to offer.
yeah,
They don't know what else to do for you.
Yeah, I think they just don't know. They just don't know what to
Yeah.
do, so they want to just here, take this and go away.
Yeah.
Don't come back and ask me any more questions that I can't answer for you.
So
Yeah.
Well, thank God for,
thank God for
People-
MIDI because
MIDI
they know
and-
what they're talking about.
and doctors that will actually, or naturopaths who will prescribe hormones because it literally is like, it's a game changer.
Oh, it's been life changing.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like you're a new person.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And
And so all of you are on MIDI Health?
no, she isn't.
No,
Oh,
I
you're not
see a
a
local naturopath.
Oh, but they're doing a similar thing for you with the hormone treatment.
Yes, yes. So we did a whole panel and did a whole comprehensive blood work and all of that and determined what needed to be supplemented and what was fine for now. So,
Right.
yeah.
So there you go. If you can find the right person to give you the
Exactly.
right treatment, then then you can actually get
Then you can
a
function.
lot of help.
Exactly.
I mean, it's not going to cure you, but it's going to treat you effectively.
Yeah, it stabilizes you. It makes you feel
You
human
can
again.
you can sleep.
It's improving. It might
improving.
for me. It's improving. I mean, at least now, finally.
I
So
have
I'm-
no sleep issues now.
How about you?
It's very seldom. I still do have days where I'll wake up at like 2 or 3 and not be able to go back to sleep, but it's not like it was. It's not
Do you
a
still get
nightly
the
thing.
sweats and the hot flashes and stuff?
I do, but those are mostly like now, like during the day.
Oh, okay.
I feel like I'm naturally just like hot all the time now,
Right.
and I can't really like I have a really hard time like regulating my temperature.
It's like your body temperature is just like generally risen.
Yeah.
And it's like
Yeah.
the normal is just higher
Your
than it
thermostat's
is.
stuck open.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
always run hot. And so, yeah, I get hot really easy.
Yep.
So, and I don't have the hot flashes much. I have like breakthrough ones every once in a while, but they're super mild. Not like me, like wanting to tear off my clothes.
But I can still walk around in a t-shirt when it's snowing outside and be completely comfortable. And my husband and my son will be like, "Are you cold?" And I'm like, "Absolutely not." Like, no. It's like that video.
My sister's like this too.
Yeah. There's a video on, I think I saw it on Instagram or something, and it's this like African American lady who like doesn't
Oh,
have
yeah.
any hair
Coming off her
Oh,
head.
the
I saw
steam
that.
coming off
Yes.
her head. And I'm like, oh my God, that she's so my spirit animal because like that
That's
is me
fantastic.
all the time. Like if I didn't have hair, you would probably see it right.
She's like the poster woman for menopause.
Oh my
after
God.
That video. I think everyone on YouTube has seen that video.
I love it. Like every time I see that, I feel like, okay, yep, all right. It's not just me because
No.
if I didn't have hair, that would probably be me
So
walking around.
who are we talking to that does the hormone baseline? And then, I mean, there's a few different people, I guess, that we've talked to that do a similar thing. I'm thinking Strawberry Health back in episode 2, and then we had Timeless Biotech in episode 20.
Natural Cycles is kind of doing something. So they gave me
right,
Aura
right.
ring. And they're doing this. Natural Cycles is an app, and it's usually for like infertility or like natural planning for childbirth for women who can't be on hormones or whatever because it makes them sick or they just don't want to or whatever. But now they've got a new program for like perimenopause and menopause to be tracking. And so they gifted me this Aura ring and 6 months of the subscription. It's my first podcast gift ever.
There you go.
I feel like a real influencer now,
It's
you
good
guys.
to
Do an
be the host.
unboxing video.
I should now. It's too late. It's already on.
That's
So-
not what we do here.
So I'm going to start tracking through that. So there's really cool stuff that's like coming out on the market for women like us. So
I think with everything being so new too, because it took me a while before I was open to using MIDI Health because I feel like with everything being so new that it's like, who's a snake oil salesman and who's actually out to help me.
Right.
True.
Because there's so many things on the market right now.
right.
If
Take
you
a supplement for this. There's
Yeah.
a supplement for that.
And then it's, and then you like start to do research and read reviews and this kind of stuff. And it's like, I started taking something and I took it for like 3 days and I was having like the worst headaches daily.
Oh.
And it was like, you try so many things, but it's just, there's so many things out there to know what actually is good for you and what's not is hard.
I think we need to plug a little right here. If you go to our YouTube page,
Yeah.
I put everything on playlists, and there is a women's health menopause playlist that will have all of our menopause episodes on it.
Job.
So
glad
if,
you did
if
that.
you are listening to this because you are a woman who should be in this room with us talking about this right now, go to our, and you just want to find the menopause stuff, YouTube is the easiest place to do that. So on the audio platforms, they don't really let you do the playlists
No,
like
they
that.
don't.
So you'd have to comb through, but if you go to YouTube, it's just right there.
Yeah.
Nice.
Great plug, and I'm just kind of looking at time here, so we should probably start wrapping it up. But our episodes are typically about an hour long, but like I could literally sit in this room for 3 hours and just
Easily.
Yes.
We can always do another.
I think we need to bring it back. But I think like what I'd like to do is just if you can have like parting words to like whoever's listening who might be starting to feel like they're going through it, or maybe they're definitely in it but haven't reached out to anybody yet. Like, I don't know, like words of wisdom, since we're in our wisdom era right now. What would you tell somebody, Heather?
I think I would say it's completely normal. Reach out, talk to people about it, find somebody that you feel like you can trust and confide in, and friends, and just don't be afraid to talk about what you're going through. Don't shut it down and isolate yourself and think, I'm just gonna push through, because you don't have to just push through. There's things you can grab onto and get some help with, so that you can feel more like yourself.
Yep.
For sure.
Find that community.
That's right.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yep.
Christina?
You are not going crazy.
Ah,
You are not going crazy. Like there
Fair.
is something physically happening
Yes.
inside of your body.
Yes.
And yes, like talk to people about it. I feel like one of the things that I have learned is that you are not the only person going through something. And even if it's a really tough, difficult subject to talk about for you, if you open up, you can find someone to open up to. Guaranteed you're going to find someone else who's going through the same thing that you are. And yeah, just get it out. And it helps a lot to find those people.
Yep.
And you're not going crazy.
You're not. You're definitely not. Yeah.
Let's all say it together. You are not.
You are not going crazy.
That's our new mantra. Just look at yourself in the mirror every day.
That's right.
I might have to clip that for some audio.
We got you. Yeah. I think that's good advice. I think in mine, my advice is go find somebody who will listen. Because you're not crazy, and find a doctor, find a naturopath. Keep trying until you find somebody that says, I hear you, I understand you, I see you, and you're going through something and you need help.
Because that's the people who will help you sleep again.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they will. And you'll be well on the other side of that at some point and be saying, wow, I didn't realize how really terrible I was feeling. And now I feel like a new person, right?
Yeah.
Like hormones save lives. I will repeat, hormones save lives. Go get some, and some progesterone.
There you go.
And I think that's it. I think that's all
right.
we got. I mean, otherwise we're going to be here for another day.
I'll do it. I'm just going to wrap it up real quick then. You can check us out on all the audio platforms. Like I said, YouTube with the playlists and stuff if you're looking for the particular subjects we cover. I'm going to do your part too. We're on all the
Do it.
Instagram and Facebook and Blue Sky, and LinkedIn is actually the big one for us. I think just Healthcare Uprising will get you there on all of those. Yeah, that's good.
That's it.
I now officially know more about menopause than any other man in this country.
Yeah.
And we will see you next time on the Healthcare Uprising.
Awesome.
Till
Thanks,
then.
ladies.
Thanks for having us.
This has been a Shut Up production.